some time saying hellos, and Lynn, Venetia.
And lots of people have joined. I don't want to keep people waiting longer than we need to, Helene. So maybe you could lead us off, let us start.
Thank you. Well, just welcome everybody. It's such an incredible pleasure to represent the Process Work Institute today and host this really joyful event to celebrate the work of Lynn and Venetia in creating a graphical representation of the incredible Worldwork Greece experience, and to really give their creativity and wisdom to us in this form. And it's such an honor to be celebrating and launching this work today. So I want to just take a moment, as Lynn requested, to have us honor the land on which we are all meeting, which is a land that is maybe spanning the entire planet, and honor the traditional owners of lands where that is known, and to honor all of us as having a connection to this place that we are all meeting in. I also want to honor Arnold Mindell for creating the work that we call process work, for having the idea of the dream body and the dreaming process that has given so many of us so much resources for unfolding our own experience and for building community through difficulties. And that is what Worldwork celebrates and works on. And I'm very happy to hand over to Anne Murphy, who is going to be our MC and host for this evening. And just excited and so happy to be here with everybody.
Thank you, Helene. Yes. And I'll just acknowledge our authors today, Lynn Lobo and Venetia Buruniku.
You got it, Anne.
And thank you. They'll say more about themselves and their work shortly, and have a chance to introduce themselves. But first, I'd like to welcome Julia Wolfson and Nadia Shibagahani from Eldership Academy Press, the publishers of this work. And they're going to talk a little about the book and what they do, how they were involved.
Thank you, Anne. I just want to say my name is Nader, and Julia and I are running Eldership Academy Press, and we want to be really just very brief. I mean, we are a small press, and both of us were very honored when Lynn and Venetia came to us and said, hey, would you guys be interested in getting this book out? So we thought, wow, that is wonderful. We looked at it. It's a great, beautiful, artistic and deep book. And because we are kind of a small press, we get to know the authors much more than I think bigger presses do. So it's a real privilege to have been asked by you two. So thank you. And I think it's a wonderful product. It came out very well. And I want to pass it on to Julia, who worked very closely with the two of you, Venetia and Lynn. And maybe Julia, if you can say a few words about your process as well.
Thanks, Nada. Julia's on mute. No, she's not.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julia, and I'm calling in from Ngunnawal country in North Canberra in Australia. And it really, as Nada said, was a great honour to be chosen by you, Lynn, and Venetia to publish this beautiful book, which we hold in our virtual hands at this moment. What is so spectacular for me is that this book teaches about world work through the relationship of two friends, and the relationship aspect, the collaboration between us in producing the finished product of this book, for me has been really core and has been so smooth and enjoyable, and has been really in a way, a mirror of the Worldwork book in the co-creation and collaboration being the core of also how we work together back and forth. So thank you very much. It was a great learning, like any book. And thank you, Lynn and Venetia, and everybody who's had a part in it, which is really the whole Process Work community. And handing back now to you, Anne. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. I just have one question for you as Eldership Academy Press. Where can our friends buy the book in an electronic form or in a hard copy?
Shall I answer that, Nada?
Oh, please go for it.
Well, on our little website, www.eldershipacademypress.org, if you will see on the front page the book, and then if you keep clicking, you'll get to the book's actual big page, and there is laid out everywhere you can get the book. But just to say briefly,
Thank you.
the book is available on Kobo and Apple Books. The print book is a print-on-demand book. That means that you can get this book from many Amazon places, not all Amazon, but also many other e-bookstores around the world. And on the website, you click where it says a little distribution link, and you'll get for all the countries, all the different places. If you have any difficulty finding a book, please contact me/us immediately, and we will solve that for you, no problem, because we have access to the information where you can find the book from your country.
Thank you. I'm pleased to hear it's so widely available that I'm sure there'll be a bit of demand for that.
Yeah. It's very widely available on many e-retail bookstores around the world.
Thank you.
Just want to say thank you so much, Julia and Nada. It was such a pleasure working with you both. When Venetia and I got to this place where we just felt stuck and overwhelmed and didn't know what to do, it was just, you just took over, and it was beautifully smooth. And thank you so much for all your help.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have added into the chat the link to Eldership Academy and where you can find the book.
Thank you.
Oh,
Great.
thank you.
And then onto our friends and colleagues, the authors today. Could I invite you to introduce yourselves and say a little about the work you've done together? I also want to invite the participants here, as you have questions or thoughts, to please add them to the chat so that we can get to them and talk through them. We don't have a lot of formal things we want to say, and we'd like to just engage together and talk about the book, the format, the dreams behind it, and maybe your impressions if you've been able to source it already.
And we're going, how long are we going for? About an hour and a half, is that right?
Yes, another hour and 15 minutes, if we need to. We've got quite a lot of time, yep.
Marvelous.
So who should I invite to start? That's always a difficult question.
You go ahead, Lynn.
Friend.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Well, it's the way this whole book came about is so intrinsically embedded in our friendship, because we were studying together, and Venetia and I would go on these endless walks after class. I was living on Rayleigh at the time, and you were on, what were you on? Irving. So Portland is in alphabetical order, the street names, and we would walk to Rayleigh, and then we'd be talking the whole way, and then we'd walk back halfway, and then I'd keep going and walk Venetia home, and then we would walk back halfway and then part. And we'd just have these conversations every evening after class. And when it came to the end of our time together in Portland, when our studies finished, we were like, what are we going to do? And at the time, Greece had offered to take on Worldwork. And I had this idea that, oh, maybe we could do a graphic novel, not having any idea what that meant or how much work that involved or how the hell we were going to do it when Worldwork just seems like, oh my God, what just happened? But we took it on, and it gave us, I think it just enabled us to meet up every week and talk, really, and work on something together. It was a lot of fun. How about you, Venetia?
Well, I was thinking, well, first of all, it's 6:30 in the morning here. And as you know well, and all the people who know me well know, it's not my most the easiest thing for me to talk first thing in the morning. So it's funny we did that. Who's gonna start? And I was just thinking how our relationship is, like you said, embedded in the book. I was just reminded of, I think it's the first page of the of chapter 2, where you come and say good morning to me. We are at Worldwork and we're sitting at a coffee place, and you come and talk to me. I'm just sitting there quiet, not talking. And I'm saying that to say that so many things of our relationship and personal things are in the book. And that was the process that we worked on it. We worked on it through our relationship, and many things that are very personal are there. The readers might see them and might not, but if you look close, you're going to see them. And people who know us are gonna identify us, and people who don't know us are gonna learn a lot about us. I don't know, was that the question? Did I answer the question?
You were introducing yourself. So I met I met Lynn in Australia before I was studying in Portland, but Lynn and Venetia and I studied together in the Masters of Process Work at the Portland, at the Process Work Institute in Portland, and working in a cohort together. We had a lot of time to get to know each other and because of the nature of the work, get to know each other quite deeply.
Oh, right. I wanted to add something. I just remembered.
Please, go ahead.
About what Lynn said, that we didn't really know what we were taking on. We were so excited to work together, and we said, yes, we're going to do this, a graphic novel. We both love the work, process work and Worldwork, and we were very excited to do this creative representation of the work. And then, like Lynn said, we had no idea. None of us had done that before. And so the first chapter took us almost a year and a half. And the second chapter took us a year. And the third chapter took us just a few months. And then Lynn came to Greece, and we went back to Porto Heli, where Worldwork took place, and we were working for hours and hours and hours a day. But we were together. We were back in our walks and talking and processing things in the same time zone, which was very helpful. So that's how it finished.
And what you call the work will be familiar to many of us, and less known to others when we talk about process work and Worldwork and group process. deep democracy. But perhaps we'll go a little deeper into some of those concepts and ideas as we discuss. But I was wondering, just to start introducing them, if you could talk about the title of your work, which is called Dreaming into Community. What's behind that? What was your dream or your inspiration for that title? Where did that come from, Dreaming into Community?
Well, I think for me that title, it's so like, even though Venetia and I are the authors, there is no way we could have put this book together without everybody who had come to Worldwork Greece and who have been involved in the development of Worldwork and conflict facilitation over a period of 30 years, maybe more. More than that, 40 years, I don't know, long time anyway, before I was involved in process work. So, dreaming into community, I think it speaks to a high dream about the world. And for me, a high dream about the world and being able to work on all of the conflicts in the world, the many different conflicts in the world, and build through community through that. And it felt like this book was, it's kind of like a teaching guide, but it's also a novel, and it's also about our friendship, and it's also to try and give people an experience of what it's like to be in Worldwork or to go through some of the group processes at Worldwork. And like I said, Worldwork is so collaborative. The things that come up, the way that they're worked on. So the dreaming into community is about all of the people who come and the high dream that they have to.
So could we talk for a minute about Worldwork? You're talking about Worldwork. The event was called Worldwork. Your book is described a teaching guide to Worldwork. I remember when Arnold Mindell, not so long ago, but it might have been a while ago, had a significant birthday. And another of our elders in the process work community, Max Schupbach, set up a website and invited people to contribute to the website by giving their understanding of what is meant by deep democracy. And I wonder if we were to think about Worldwork in that way, because different people will have different associations and connotations, what is Worldwork to you? Maybe Venetia could take this question. What is, or if anybody wants to put their hand up, what does Worldwork mean to you?
Well,
or how would you describe it to somebody who doesn't know?
Yeah, it's so big, and so it's a big question. So let me see if I can put it in a few sentences. So for me, Worldwork is this coming together, and this coming together not only physically. Of course, we come together in the at the seminars, but Worldwork is, as a concept, is this coming together and this trying to raise awareness about ourselves and the world we're in, and the interconnectedness of the personal, the social, the political, the world. And of course, as Arnie has come up with the term Worldwork and process work is an awareness attitude, right? And deep democracy is about making space and bringing all the voices of the field in the discussion and processing, and so that we create more awareness.
So inclusion. You just said
Yeah,
bringing all the voices in.
Inclusion is an interesting word, but yes, you
Okay.
can say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also Worldwork, let's also say, for people who might not know, Worldwork is also a seminar, and it's a seminar on conflict resolution and on building community, and it happens since 1991, I think. I think 1991 was the first one. And it's a big event for the community, and in my opinion for the world, as we come together and try to work on big conflicts. Worldwork Greece 2002 was my first Worldwork ever. That was like a life-changing event for me, and I was very touched, and I feel personally also very touched and honored for Worldwork to have come back to Greece after 15 years, and also Lynn and I writing this book and presenting Worldwork through Worldwork Greece. Yeah.
So Worldwork Greece was a gathering of what, several hundred people?
A little more than 500.
534, I think it says in our book, or something like that.
Okay. And it was and it was run over 5 days?
6
6.
days?
6 days, okay. I know it was a very full. I was there, right? It was a very full program. There were things scheduled, day and evening, social events, business connections, and the formal, the Worldwork, the group process, the social, working on social and political issues. There was a lot going on, and you focused particularly on the group processes. Perhaps tell us
3 processes.
3 group processes. Of how many? How did you decide which? Because there were many, I think.
I'm just going to get headphones because someone's doing their lawn. One moment.
Oh, okay. It's mid-afternoon in Adelaide. Saturday afternoon, it's mowing the lawn time.
What was the question, Anne?
Well, there were a number of group processes, big events, and interesting, and different people and participating, different people facilitating, different topics being focused on. How did you choose which ones to document further in your book?
Right, that's a very good question. I don't know, Lynn, if you want me to start, or if you want to start answering that.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think they kind of had a natural flow. I think because we decided that we wanted to just focus on the large group processes, because in Worldwork you have large group processes in the morning, and then there's like awareness groups in the afternoon. Lunchtime is full of or focus groups in the afternoon. Lunchtime is full of awareness groups, and then there's also like a little kind of family group that you process things that happened in the large group. So it's very structured. But we just wanted to focus on the large group processes, because how many can you I could write like 1,000-page graphic novel, otherwise it would take us 10 years. So I think the ones that we chose were the ones that were probably most personal to us, and starting off with the Greek group, the process on what's happening in Greece, what is happening in Greece, to honor that it's Worldwork in Greece. And then I think the other 2 processes were personal in different ways to both of us.
So they were racism. I'm trying to think back to the book.
Yeah, refugees, the
Refugee.
refugee issue, particularly in Europe, but you know what happens there is pretty much what happens in a lot of other places, even here in Australia. And the last one was on capitalism and slavery. And
Wow.
yeah, so
Big topics.
all that, yeah, there was just like a natural flow that happened through those three topics. Yeah.
And group process, when you get a gathering of, you know, maybe up to 500 people who can participate in this discussion and event and select a topic and have to various degrees strong opinions and ideas about the topic, I can imagine, well, I know it can be quite chaotic, unpredictable. There are a lot of things going on at once. How did you work with the raw material, the videos of the events, selecting what to include, what to leave out, give it a coherency, which is sometimes not all that apparent when you're at the event?
Oh, well,
this is your creative process now.
yeah. Well, that's, you know, it took hours and hours and hours of video study and video analysis and transcribing. And Paula is somewhere here. We want to give a shout out to Paula and Dreammaker.io, because the app you created was just the most important tool. Helped us so
Phenomenal.
much to, yes, it's a phenomenal app. And we had the chance to work in a very safe environment on, like, it was completely confidential. We had the chance to study and make notes and transcribe and share with each other and work on our own times, and then share our notes. So it took many hours of that. And
you said a year and a half for the first one.
Yes.
Because we didn't have any idea what we were doing.
Okay.
And then many hours working through Skype and Zoom, processing with each other, because of course our personal experiences and our own understandings, and trying to find the main storyline and put it together, but also a lot of processing between us and creating each and every frame, the idea of each and every frame, the concept of every frame together. So that takes tons of hours.
Well, that's interesting, because apart from sort of crafting a storyline, there was this a visual storyline, which allows for much. It's just a different way of sharing the information than being able to write it out and explain. And you capture a lot in the pictures. They're incredibly detailed and sort of and perceptive. But how was the visual storyline crafted?
Go on, Lynn.
As our nominated artist.
Yeah, each frame, we kind of did an analysis of each group process, and then our creative process, our creative processes in relationship took over. So the storyline in the book follows what actually happened to some extent, but
day to day.
A lot of there's a lot of creative play in it, in that you know, something that one person said, we've got somebody else saying, we've brought in, you know, like people's inner voices, which, you know, you never know what they're thinking on a video, but So we brought that in to try and to give a thread of continuity through the group process. What's that person thinking? What are these people feeling? Looking at people's signals and dreaming into that ourselves, so that we could flesh out the viewpoint from from different places, and then also to to each frame to think about how a group dreaming, a personal dreaming for each character, how we could bring that in. It was yeah, so we would, if we could manage a page a week just in draft form, we were doing well. And then there was also, all the revising and re-revising and trying to pull the whole thing together as a novel. That's what took, the revising part took a long time too. Yeah. What would you say, Venetia?
I liked what you said so much. I'm thinking the word that came to my mind was a vessel. And I think we were the vessels of to bring out this work. I don't know. I just have this word in my mind. I really liked what you said, Lynn.
And that concept of dreaming came up again, Lynn, dreaming into community in the title. And you said trying to capture some of the dreaming that was happening in the event and as people met.
Yeah,
I think that's really important to us in process work and our understanding of the world, is that there is this a sort of a layer of reality, consensus reality that looks like the everyday, what we do and how we do it. There's another dreaming level. How did you work with that through video analysis and what you saw? And what were the challenges there?
well, of course, process-oriented psychology, it's signal-based. So we were looking at people's signals and facial expressions, and to find out, to think through what people were feeling, and also what the atmosphere in the room was at the time. And then there's also the structure, we're trying to bring out the structure of group processes and introduce concepts like time spirits and ghost roles.
So who was being represented and who might have otherwise been present, or
who's being spoken about but is not there? How could we represent that? What role are those energies that are being spoken about be brought into a group process and worked with? And a graphic novel, because I love graphic novels, what I really love about graphic novels is that it's not a video where video's just like, they're a flow. You just let them run. A graphic novel, you stop and you look at each single frame, and there's words there. It's really condensed. Each picture says more than the words. And
well, you're starting to talk to a question that Nikki's asked, so I'll just mention Nikki's question as you describe drawing and the frames, because Nikki asked if you could talk about the drawing process, how you created each panel, each page.
The drawing process, I don't know.
Yes.
That was very
well, you were starting to. I interrupted what your flow is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the sequencing, because sometimes we would draw like I guess when you're writing any book, you swap sentences around and things, and sometimes we would swap the flow of panels around too, so that it would have more coherence. But just thinking about how one panel flowed into the next, so that there would be some kind of continuity visually as well as in words. That was quite a challenge. And then how the page looks overall, the aesthetics of the layout of the page, how that looks in relation to the next page. So, you're always thinking ahead. Is this page going to have 3 panels at the top, 2 in the middle, 1 long one down the bottom, or 2 panels and 2 panels, 3 panels, so the number of panels determines the flow of the conversation on the page. And we had to really think about that, change up, what we want to capture it about this particular part of the process isn't going to fit a long panel. We might have to break it up into 3 panels. Maybe maybe somebody will have to come in with an aside, and then thinking about in terms of like disjunctures in pace and time. Please go on, Venetia.
Pace.
Yeah.
Well, because it does affect.
How to pace. Yes.
It
how to
affected me as a
pace.
reader, where to focus and where to look and read. Yes.
Well, like Lynn said, it's we had to think about how we're gonna show the atmosphere. What is it that we're gonna, what kind of drawing, what kind of image would convey the atmosphere that we wanna show, the atmosphere of the room. So that's one thing, like Lynn said, and then how are we gonna pace things? And in that, using the number, also using not only the visual itself, but the number of panels, like Lynn said, like when the pace was faster, we would use more panels in the row, like tuck, tuck, tuck. And then we want to slow down, and we would use larger images, more open spaces, and maybe less words sometimes. So or no words.
No words. Yes. There's an incredible amount of detail in what you depict. Yeah,
it's a combination, and this is about, now we're talking about how we came up with the ideas, how we worked on the frames, and then of course Lynn would take it from there and put it on paper, which is her artistic, amazing artistic nature and who she is. So yes, this is how we created it together, putting everything there, and then
we would have these little arguments where I'd take it back to Venetia and she'd say, no, that looks too much like that person. You have to change that person, disidentify them. We can't have anybody looking like the people that we know. So back to the drawing board.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. That's important to say also, Lynn, that all the facilitators of the 3 group processes are identifiable. The rest of the people are not, like the images are changed. Like if for people who were there and who know people and remember things, they might identify.
They might look familiar.
They might, yes, because they've been there. Then they know what happened. But if you read it, you cannot identify who is who. And that's important for just mentioning it for confidentiality reasons.
Sure. It's such a pleasure to hear about how you work together and that you might have disagreed at times. And I want to thank Andrea, who submitted some questions ahead of time. So I haven't disclosed before, but I'm asking questions that, thank you, Andrea, asked that are good provoking ideas. But one of the questions were, what were the challenges of working together? I would think geography among them and distance, but what were the challenges? And maybe you could cover the joys as well.
Well, the challenges are the joys also, because
okay,
that's
nice.
that's how we grew. That's how we were very, very good friends already, but this is how our relationship deepened and grew. And I feel like I grew personally, and I grew in this relationship and this team. And that happened through challenges, processing a lot, because like Lynn said, everything that we were trying to work on and to show, we needed, not we had to, but we needed to process it as inner work first, and then process it in our relationship, and come to a point that, you know, this was good for both of us to to put down. And of course, like things like you said. Go ahead, Lynn.
I was just going to
Jump
say,
in.
jump in. I was just going to say that it's one thing, like, you know, looking at videos and doing an analysis. And analysis, it sounds like it's very kind of, you know, you step back and you analyze things. We
Critical.
kind of, yeah. So, you know, like we had we put together a transcript, and then we had disagreements around the interpretation of what was going on. And they were
Okay.
largely based on, because we're different people, we also have different cultural perspectives. And that was really useful. Like, you know, my ignorance made Venetia more articulate, and vice versa. So all of that comes out in the way in which we constructed our storyline. Yeah, so that, you know, that cultural difference was definitely a challenge, but it helped us. And then there's also the distance factor. The distance of meeting every week for 3 years on Skype or Zoom, and to work through and write this thing, and then to see how when we finally got together in Greece,
Brings me tears what you say.
yeah.
Tell us that about that, Venetia. That sounds special.
Just, you know, the relationship and the commitment to each other, and also to this project.
Yes.
Meeting every week for 3 years. Like it's, I mean, just
Wow.
touches me.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, deeply.
Love you, my friend.
Yeah, love you too.
Well, that probably
funny thing-
leads us into, okay. Yep.
One more thing. The funny
Yeah.
thing is, when I went to Greece, in the lead up to it, this is after Worldwork. It was last year I went to Greece.
Yes.
And we were planning this holiday where we'd go to Porto Heli, and we thought, oh, it's going to be so relaxing. We'll work in the morning, and then we'll go swimming, and then we'll go for a drive here. And when we got there, we just worked for 10 hours every day. It was crazy. And then
No beach?
we never went to the beach once. Our internet connection would drop out, and we'd have to go and sit in a hotel and right, keep working because they had a better internet connection than where we were.
Well, we were going out to dinner, but that was also funny because we were working for 10 hours and then we would go out to dinner. And
Yes.
of course, we would walk to the restaurant and we would talk about the process and still processing. And of course, our heads were like that big by then. And we would have our phones and take notes on the way to the restaurant, because we wouldn't trust that we would remember what we were saying. And of course, we would sleep, and the next day something very different would possibly come out. But this I have this image of us walking to the restaurant with our phones, taking notes. So funny.
Intense.
And the funny thing was that at Porto Heli, some of the people in the restaurants and at the hotel remembered us. they were like, "Oh, weren't you with that group of psychologists that came
From
here
3 years before.
3 years ago?"
Yeah.
Oh yes, I
Wow.
remember you. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to really look at this work differently after hearing some of the background and how you approached it. And I also want to invite people to include any questions you may have that are coming up now into the chat so we can address them in the time we have left.
Thank you, Anne, because we could talk for like hours, but we'd like to invite also people.
Exactly, exactly.
No.
And then, well, what we heard that was the challenges you were talking about and how hard you worked. So what are you most proud of today? What is it that gives you a sense of pride or satisfaction? Or I don't know if something like this is ever completed, but maybe a completion. You know, you did it. What are you most proud of, if you can share?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. What I'm proud of is that it's a graphic novel. You know, graphic novels can be about many different things these days, but it's
Often superheroes, I thought.
comics, yeah.
Yes.
But this is a book. I just look at it and I marvel at how it's complex and simple at the same time.
Yes.
And I think, how on earth did we do that? I know what I'm proud of is I know I could never have done this on my own. I needed my friend to do it, to birth this into the world. I could, even though I can write and I can draw and I couldn't have done this on my own.
Now I get a strong sense of collaboration, a deep collaboration. Yes.
It's some ideas that are big need a particular relationship, and I think that's what we had for this idea.
Well, I'm also very proud of the product. I mean, I'm very proud of the book aesthetically. I'm very proud of what we tried to what we managed to say in all this. I'm proud that it's an educational piece for me. Like, it feels like someone can learn about group process in this. I'm proud that the first time that I heard I'm an author, after the book finished, I was like, oh, I hadn't realized that. And it made me, we are authors.
An author, yeah.
I'm proud we managed, we did that. I'm proud of our relationship and how we worked through this work. And also I want to say I'm proud to be part of this community with all the challenges and everything, trying to work. You know, it's a challenging thing trying to work on all these issues and bring awareness. And we're doing it as a community, as a process work community, but also as a larger community. And everybody who joins in trying to, to work and to process these issues. And I feel proud to be part of that.
Wow. And I imagine you've been warmly embraced by the community and those of us who've been lucky enough to see the book already, and
yeah, it's been so
by
touching.
friends and family. It's
so touching, hearing people's feedback and people sending us and me emails about they enjoyed about the book, or yeah, it's been, the way it's been received has been really touching. So yeah.
And Jai has asked about what roadblocks did you face and how were you able to go forward through it all? And might even be thinking, over 3 years.
Okay.
How were you able to go forward through it all? I imagine there were times of overwhelm or less creative juice than was needed, or
Definitely. And it's all about field theory, thank goddess. When I got overwhelmed, Lynn would support me to go further, and vice versa. So how we manage this through, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but this is it. We managed through processing everything. We had our relationship allowed for, and our growing relationship allowed for us and each one of us to bring in our disagreements or our overwhelm or anything that was happening and stay with it and process it until we felt some kind of resolution. And people come to a resolution, some kind of resolution, one way or the other. Through processing, that happens. And also, I'm just going to repeat that it's field theory. I don't think it ever happened that we got overwhelmed both at once.
okay.
Or maybe, if it happened, it was like momentarily one of us would pick up the other role that would say, hey, come on, friend, we can do it. Or let's slow down. Or here we are, this is challenging. Let's stay here and let's give it time to process. And so that was the way, I feel. What do you think, Lynn? What was the way?
Well, I was just thinking of how following on from field theory in two ways. Like sometimes life is just like so damn complicated, and one of us would have to drop out and the other would just like go, okay, friend, I'm just gonna do this for a little while and keep it turning over. I'm going to get in contact with this person, yeah, because there's also all that background work of like getting permission from people who are represented in the graphic novel. Writing to the different bodies that supported us, like IAPOP and certain people who are involved with that, who we're very grateful for. Thank you, Lily. Also, in terms of the field, damn Amazon. We had to get past that block of Amazon, and then, coming across Julia and Nada. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. That was just like a gift from the goddess, because neither of us knew what to do around that. So,
and some of what you described, this sort of grappling with things, sometimes having a resolution, at other times not, sounds very much like what happens at the event itself. So Lynn mentioned IAPOP, who are the International Association for Process-Oriented Psychology. IAPOP hosts this big Worldwork event every few years. The last one was in Greece, in Portohelly, and the effort to put that together, to set up for 500 people, to prepare facilitation teams, and the collaboration and that went on behind the scenes, I think is nice to acknowledge. I think it's also, I felt reflected in what you talk about, the grappling with something. People come to the Worldwork event to grapple with issues, with dilemmas and social and political concerns. And we may not have at the time a sense of resolution or something. I'm really thrilled to hear you talking about that, the struggle of it, of this work, and what makes it, what then makes it worthwhile. I mean, the struggle itself, I think you said, Venetia, sometimes the disagreement and the something. Now I'm not even sure where my questions go, or it's not really a question. But thank you to IAPOP and the people who host these events, these big formal events, because group process and Worldwork happen, yes, in smaller and more intimate settings as well. And I think as you're walking down the street with your phone, there's a group process happening there between the two of you.
Well, you know, great things are born out of struggles. You know, and that it's a book that's come out of a big, you know, a big event that is about struggle, and then struggling to put it into some kind of a format that's going to be able to share. Like, we wanted to make it so that it's not just a teaching guide for people who are studying process work, but also in a format that anybody could read. So if you hear about Worldwork and you go, oh, what's that? Because I've always struggled. That's one of my struggles. And when people ask me that, I go, oh, I don't really know. You know, or, you know, it's like
what's Worldwork and why do you go?
Yeah. And so this just felt like a really important way of putting it out there into the world so people could see what it was like. A lot of Worldwork is it's behind confidentiality, so you don't get to see it unless you actually come. And I hope that this gives everybody a little glimpse of how process work works with large group processes and conflict in large groups.
And makes me think on how valuable that's the struggle with conflict and difference is.
Yes.
That's so true for me too, Lynn. What you just said. I've all these years I've been trying to describe my experience in Worldwork and share my experience in Worldwork. And of course, I can say what Worldwork is, a seminar, blah, and describe the seminar. But I had never found a way to really share my experience and the whole experience of being part of Worldwork and the atmosphere and what that entails, and the work and the processing and the struggle and the victories also and everything, but how it feels to be in there. And I feel this work, this book we wrote together, is the first time that I feel I'm sharing myself and my experience through the experience of 536 people.
Wow.
I'm sharing my experience of Worldwork, and this is very big for me and touching.
And
I'm
really
I'm grateful. Yeah.
Maybe there are people who may want to ask questions themselves. I'm just wondering.
Or comments. We would love to hear from people also, if they want to say anything.
There have been some comments in the chat. Dawn mentioned it's very touching to feel your pride and relationship. Such a beautiful and gorgeous book. Lily, Lily said it's deeply touching, the process the two of you went through, processing the Worldwork issues that manifested in the process of the making and publishing. And Jai said it was heartwarming to hear you speak of your inspiration, relationship and collaboration, and added thanks. Lily said it's an amazing gift you've given us, which I can only agree with. Making Worldwork, as you say, visible to those who weren't there. And it's a wonderful teaching legacy to be able to share that. And Catherine says she's so excited she wasn't there, but now she knows she can experience Worldwork.
That's great.
In the form
Hi, Catherine.
you've given us.
Hi, Venetia. It took me a moment to unmute me.
Good to see you.
Yes, well, no one sees me, but I hear you. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
So just thinking back to the book again, do you have a favourite page? When we get our copy downloaded or delivered in the mail, is there a particular page we should go to first? I mean, we can start at the start.
I have
that
a
sounds
favourite.
a bit boring. Yeah. Okay.
I have a favourite page, but I don't think you should go to it first up. I think you should just let it
save it.
brief up on you.
Okay.
But the page that I mean, there's many pages that really touch me.
Mm-hmm.
But the one of where we encapsulate the experience of somebody who is a refugee as a board game of borders, where there's a roll of the dice.
A board game of borders.
Yeah.
Oh, of geographical borders.
Geographical borders.
We're
Where
gonna
life
give
is
spoilers. Are you going to show it, or
I could
are we
show
giving
it.
spoilers or not?
Shall we just get, well, you know.
Let's give some spoilers.
All right, okay. This one. It's a board game of borders, where somebody's life is determined by the roll of a dice, and there's a pit of snakes, and there's also ladders and luck cards. But how does one get through a board game of borders? That one.
Wow, challenging. Great questions.
Yeah. And mine, can you show also page 15? I can show it in my computer, but I don't know if we should give that much spoiler. What do you think?
Yeah, go ahead. Show it.
I just want to say that's really powerful what you showed. I haven't seen that page. It's the first time I'm seeing it. And it's those of us who are living the scene, it brings tears to my eyes, and I'm grateful to you. It's very powerful emotionally also, the way that you convey the world scene. You know, I haven't seen the whole book. I've only seen part of it. I'm waiting for my copy, but I just wanted to say that because it was a powerful effect now seeing that page.
And
shall I show that one on my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, Lynn, do.
Okay.
Ragi echoes what Lily said too, saying that as a refugee lawyer, I've often said that my job is like playing chess with someone's life.
Yeah. Can we share our screens, Helene?
Venetia, can you show that on your screen? If you've got it there, I've got it in an app that's not on my computer.
Yeah.
Here.
Tell me the number of the page.
The number of the page is chapter 2. It's in chapter 2. 38.
Okay.
And we have more questions coming in.
And Helene, can I share my screen? I can. Okay, that's great. Let's see what I have here.
And then share your favorite page after.
Yes. All right. So,
Kathy's raised her hand. Should we just answer Kathy while you're... Oh, here we go.
So here's...
Thank
Can you all see it? Can you, Lynn, can you see it?
Yes.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's one of those drawings where you don't actually have to say very much. It kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and here is mine. My favorite one.
Your
it's from
favorite?
chapter, yeah, it's from chapter 3.
Okay.
Which is about capitalism and slavery.
Okay.
And this is, as you can see.
Oh, that's not coming up, Venetia.
Oh, it is?
No.
No, it's not. It's still on page 38.
Okay, give me a second, I'll go back. All right. And okay. Is it coming up now?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So why do you, what is it that you like about this page, or why have you chosen this page?
Well, I mean, for me, it doesn't really need words other than the ones that are there. It's the words of the Black African woman saying during the group process all the ways that the Western world has swallowed up Africa, and they just for me, the way that the woman, like, especially this is not new, but in this time, at this point where we are having this image like that, it's just big for me. I don't really have words. I'm trying to say why, but it's just, for me, this is a very powerful page that doesn't really need words other than the words there.
And we get an idea of the incredible process of going from the event to then the video study to coming out with something with the impact of these and detail of these images. Paola had asked if you could, that she'd love to hear more about the impact of studying the videos after the fact, and what impact that had on you and your process. And I think we see there the detail and understanding of the group process reflected in those images. But could you say more about the impact of studying the videos after the fact?
Yeah. Of course, when being in the midst of it, like when you're in Worldwork, it's just so overwhelming to try and make any sense of what's going on. It's more like, for me, speaking personally, I take it in on a feeling level, and it's like my insides just get mushed around and rearranged. And then having the distance of the video, and spending 3 years processing that experience. Like it's, I think Venetia and I have often said that we never felt like we ever really left Worldwork. We've been in Worldwork in Greece for 3 years. So watching those videos and just sifting through them and reconstructing them, having those videos that enabled us to reconstruct the event along with that, the feeling tone of our memories. So the videos were very, very important. Of course, there's like all these kind of details that you miss, but the two of them together. I remember when we were working on that first video and Venetia was watching that group process about Greece, and she just couldn't stop crying because it was still so impactful, revisiting it and trying to find distance to make some kind of coherent sense of it.
Well, and Alexandra mentioned that still today, working with the refugee scene there in Greece,
Yes.
what you showed is a chilling image that they're dealing with every day, the desperation of those who face the unlucky roll of the dice. And we've got, I'm just conscious of time and coming to an end. Kathy Bennett had her hand raised to share something. If the Kathy, I invite you to share what's on your mind, what you're thinking and feeling. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to share with the two of you this experience that I'm having as I'm reading this. So it's in my bedroom, and when I go to bed at night, I pick it up and had the most incredible experience that keeps happening to me. And there's an image, can I show on page 45 to try to describe what's happening? I just saw this image tonight for the first time as I was trying to experience, to share what was happening. Oh, so this image right here. So what I found,
it's a discussion between Lynn and Venetia being depicted.
But it's just what I wanted to point out to share is this, just the merging. So to me, as I'm reading this, and is I find my body doing that, going inside these pages, and like I can only read like a few pages at a time because I suddenly find my body, my whole spirit goes inside of this novel, and I'm like there with the what's being talked about and feeling and processing. And so I want to just give you this feedback. I don't know, when you talked about the field atmosphere and all of the parts and the way that your relationship and all of that has gone into this, it's like it comes alive in a way I've never had another graphic novel come alive, or anything that I've experienced before. So and I was thinking as I was experiencing that, if I know nothing about Worldwork, this was like, I imagine myself not, and this still is happening to me. So I just want to say, this gift that you've given on a visceral level, and being able, I would go to sleep at night and I'm still like processing these issues that, you know, we opened up in Greece. And so it's just a massive gift. I just really want to share with you what's happening for me. And it's really profound. So thank you for the gift to me, all of us. It's huge.
Thank
Dawn
you.
also mentioned
Kathy.
that's one of her favourite images, Kathy, as well. She shares that. And I think you also speak to the book title again, that dreaming into community, that the experience of reading and beyond that, how you're touched by it and affected. Thank you for sharing that.
Susan also opened her mic. I don't know if she wanted to say something.
This would be a good time if she does. Yeah, please.
I was just going to write it also. So lovely to see you both. It's nice to see so many people, and lovely to see you both. And thank you. It is an incredible piece of art and creativity and beauty as well as a learning tool. I've spoken to Venetia already, but I loved how you brought in the dreaming levels. I just was very moved each time. I sort of, going through the processes, and then how you illustrated imagery or signals that obviously were in the videos and in the work, but how you illustrated them. I don't know, I found that very moving, and particularly the one of Arnie crossing a wall. I just found that so evocative of great facilitation, and also deep learning, and and representation of what's being talked about. It's just very beautiful. So, and I loved your friendship in it. And I was saying to Venetia at the very end, turning the final page, I was ready for volume 2, and where did the friendship go now? It was really lovely to share that with you both. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Dare we wait for a volume 2? What is there something being dreamed about, being imagined, or seeded in some little way?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen about Worldwork with the pandemic on. Whether we are dreaming up together a new format. Like that's one of the questions that I have. Is this book like in this format, a Worldwork in this format? Is this something that is like a historical document? I don't know. Maybe we have to do it differently. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Venetia?
You've only just finished this effort, so it's a big question to say what's
the one thing is that we're celebrating the fact that that this was finished and concluded, and so just want to say that, and also there are seeds of. I mean, we don't really know what
I'm pleased to hear
is gonna happen next. But what I know and what we know, I think, I mean, I don't think we've discussed it, is that we both love Worldwork, and we both love this way of working, and we love each other, and we would love to have another project to work on together. And so
and it's got to come to,
something will emerge. We don't know yet what exactly it is. We've had ideas, and then it's celebration time also, so we've put ideas aside to give ourselves permission and time and space to celebrate, because that's a point that we usually miss as people,
sometimes,
just like resolutions. So as process workers, as facilitators, we thought, okay, let's slow down and hold this moment and celebrate. And yes, there are ideas, there are seeds, and we'll wait to see where they go and how things emerge. Here.
And we love Worldwork. Venetia and I love Worldwork. We've loved the creative process of working together, and now we've worked through the really difficult bit of actually getting something published. So we've got Nada and Julia on our team to help us. Who knows? We need everybody else who is involved in Worldwork and love it to keep on creating something and help us create something new. It's a collaborative thing.
But both Annie and Lily have said thank you and that they're celebrating with you. I think they speak on behalf of all of us here in thanking you and celebrating you. And Rebecca, did I see your hand there?
I just, there's something also I just want to acknowledge with the way that you've done this work, both of you, that I really appreciate how you've stepped into such power with such incredible tenderness. Like it really stands out in the work for me profoundly. And that's an awesome gift. And I'm just so grateful for the work that you've done and for the way that you've done it. It's just, it's inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Beck.
It's really very moving.
And Letitia wanted to say something.
If we were all together in a room, this would be a moment to really celebrate and honor all your work and give a big applause.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we are not all together in a room.
You should unmute and yell.
It's a wonderful note to finish on.
Both of you, thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
So wonderful to celebrate with all of you.
Thank you. You would sing your song. Yes, I can hear you singing. Like in Worldwork 2002, yes.
Yeah. Cucurrucucú, paloma. Cucurrucucú, no llores. Enjoy. That's a big gift for our community. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for everyone joining us here in community, what a wonderful way to celebrate and launch this work, your work out into the world. And I imagine it being very warmly embraced.
I would also like to thank you, Anne, for hosting and emceeing. It was
Great job, Anne. Yeah.
Great job. The hostess with the
Thank
most.
you.
You're a gem.
Yeah.
As are you, yes. Thank you. I get.
Okay. Wow. Wow, I'm just scrolling through and looking at everybody. So amazing to have all.
Some beautiful, beautiful feedback and support for you and your work and this gathering today. Really, really warming to be a part of.
Thanks, Dawn.
Yes. And I still won't know which page to open when I get my paper copy. Which page to open first. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming and celebrating with us.
Now we don't want to go. We just want to go to Porto Heli and start.
Exactly.
Should be in Greece.
What was that?
What was that, Dawn?
I think every Worldwork should be in Greece.
Oh my God.
That's what I said. I think so too.
And then go to Hydra.
Yes.
Looking forward to having the book in my hands and enjoying it. But something I think that you have done, which took a lot of work, and I just want to appreciate it. It's also lovely that in the electronic edition, you can in the appliances, that allow the zooming in, that you can go into each panel and like zoom in and see the details. Is like, and I know that took more work from you for us to be able to do that. it's beautiful that you can do that, this zooming in. So the electronic version has its beauty too. You can, you know, and the paper has a different feel. It's great to have both.
Yeah, thanks, Lily. The electronic version, we've changed it to get, for the time being, to get a wider distribution. So it's just in a page by page format that Julia has worked very hard on. And then at some point in the future, we'll go back to that panel version because aesthetically, I really like it.
It's a legal,
I see.
It's a legal issue in the book world. So legally, we can have both versions within about 10 months. So
wow.
Julia and Nader, thank you for navigating that legal
thank you so
obligations because oh my God, you saved us, and we're babies and all that, and of course, and it's great that we can remain babies because you took it on. You're amazing.
I like being a baby and just working on the book.
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, it's Jane here. Just wondering when the Greek version is coming out.
Well, yes, thank you, Jane. The Greek version is ready, and I'm now. It's been ready for a while now. I'm talking with publishers here in Greece and trying to navigate that world here. I'm sorry I don't have a Julia and Nader here, but it's coming soon. It's coming soon. It's on its
wonderful.
way. Thank you for asking. So yes, for those who don't know, we decided to well, we're working in English, obviously, and but also English is not my native language. Greek is my native language. And also as an honor to Greece and to the place that hosted this last Worldwork, we decided that we're going to do both versions at once. So the Greek version is coming up too. And we're very excited and looking forward to it. Lynn is fluent in Greek.
in the Greek version.
In the book.
Okay, nice.
And we're expecting that we're both very fluent in Spanish very soon, most probably.
Oh, exciting.
So we've had some people interested to translate the book in Spanish, and we're very excited. It's going to take time, but yeah, that's going to happen too.
I can see I'm premature in asking what's next. I think we'll just celebrate what's here.
Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We've so enjoyed our launch and helping us to celebrate. Great to see you all.
Thank you. Great to see you all.
Bye. Thank you
for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.